guys, Kev here, and I have a video for you. This is the Golden Design Works caliber. Now, the pre-order for this, I believe, is starting on November 11th. I'm pretty sure 11/11. Double check me. All in the description. It's all in the description. Go down there, check the links. I will link Golden Design Works website down below. I'll try to link their Instagram as well. But this is their knife, the caliber. So it is very, very cool. I'm really excited about what it is, how they made it and everything. And yeah, it's just a really cool knife. So I would like to get into it. But I do have a sheet in here. So here's the box. Really nice Golden Design Works box. Comes then in a pouch. All the usual good stuff. Some changes they're going to have. It looks like they're going to raise up the plunge grind. So I guess it's going to match up with the hole, which is cool. And then they talk about the caliber here. So you can pause and read this if you would like. All right. And here we go. Saturday, November 11th, 2023. It's $319, guys. That is a great price. We'll talk about that. Lefties. There's a lefty version, okay? Lefty version. All right. It is a little more expensive. I can actually attest that it does cost a little more for lefties. We did it on the Stout V2. Here is the steel, Magna Cut, 61-63. That has been tested on a knife standards knife, and they were at 62.5. There are some changes. So let's just, let's go over the knife, and then we'll see if I hit any of these, because I haven't actually read this. And then here's some information. So wait, I'm confused. Oh, it'll be changed to Magna Cut. The prototype's an M390. Got it. Some general specs. Again, pause and read if you like. 8.5 inches, 4 ounces, 4.2 on the fluted version. So it's 4 ounces on knurled. This one's 4.2. 0.65 overall thickness with clip without 0.48. That's more like it. Blade specs 3.75. So it's a pretty big one. It's going to be Magna Cut at 60-63 or 61-63. Bead blasted grinds, machine satin flats. Saber grind, 3.25 cutting edge, 1.27 width. Okay, 20 thou behind the edge. Here's your handle specs, 4.75. It's in titanium with glass blast and anodizing, DLC coating. There's different versions. Let's see, titanium, got it. Hardware, titanium, all T8, and tip up, right-handed, but there'll be a lefty version. And the usual stuff here. We're going to talk about the fusion lock in a second. Hybrid deep carry pocket clip. Pivot collars, keyed pivot. Got it. It's going to be made by Best Tech Knives, which is awesome. And here you go with the version. So you have a sky fluted. So it's like a blue fluted, a blue knurled, a smoke knurled, and a smoke fluted. So those are going to be your options, which is very, very cool. So again, we'll get into those changes in a second if I remember to come back to it. But guys, $319 on this I think is a great value. And it's an interesting finish on this. You can see it's bead blasted, I guess. I thought it was like a frosted finish, but I guess it's just a bead blast. And then you have, you know, the hand satin flats. Now, prototype is M390, so I'd be a little more worried about it because I've had rusting issues with bead blasting on M390. But production is going to be Magna Cut, which is one of the highest corrosion-resistant steels, so I would not worry about it at all. And I think the aesthetic looks fantastic. You have that just beautiful Golden Design Works. He just has a blaze there, has an elegance to the way he just flows with a knife. I mean, look at the blade window and how that just, I don't know, it just looks great closed, and then open, you get that long, just sort of, man, it's really nice. I gotta say, the handle almost has a sway back, straight back look to it. Doesn't actually have any sway, but I hope you know what I mean. It just has that feel to it. Very, very cool. You have this one T8 screw down here on this side. Then you have the steel insert screw, and that's pretty much it. I mean, the pivot screw, but very limited in terms of hardware on the body. You have an internally mounted, you can see the screw there, clip, which is nice. Clip works fantastically. I did carry this, and it felt great. You have the notch in the back of the backspacer there, and it is dead centered. Now, one negative I would say right off the bat here is going to be that extra space there. From where that tip ends to where the backspacer ends is a nice gap. I am trying to think of a reason why it needs to be that long. That would actually shrink down the handle a little bit, which would in turn, for me, make it a little bit of a more approachable knife, because it's a little large for my taste. Now, is that a problem for everybody? No, most people like larger size knives. I just, you know, I said this in a previous video, the biggest knife that I own and carry is my Sweeney from Berg Blades. And that's just getting at 3.5 inches, I think. And that's the largest one that I'll carry, you know. Usually my sweet spot is right where the stout is. This is my design with Colin. You can see here 3.3 inches on that one. 7.5 overall, 7.6 overall. You know, some people are going to pack more blade into a handle. So if we're somewhere around 7.5, like, let's just see what this guy's at. The Sweeney here is at 7 3/4. The stout is at, feels weird doing it backwards like this. Let me flip these over. Sorry. I'm left-handed. What can I say? Let's do that again. All right. So, hit the tip. And, yeah, we are short of 7 3/4, actually. So, probably, you know, 7.65, something like that. 7.7. And the stout is just crossing 7.5, 7.6. This guy's going to be at 8.5. And that's just a big jump for me. And I just personally don't go that big. So that's what she said. But for most of you guys that do, you're going to love it. You do have one of those sort of full finger choils that's sort of swooped out, right? And you guys are going to hate me for pulling up the Divos all the time. But a comparison would be the stout, where it's sort of a choil, it's cut in, but it's not like a bowl, right? It doesn't go deep into the blade and handle. So for me, that's more comfortable because I'm sort of keeping my fingers closer together. I'm able to, I don't know, just it feels more comfortable, where something like this, or an example of one that has bothered me in the past, is the Protect Mordax. Your finger just kind of gets locked into this thing. And depending on the angles you're at or whatever, you can kind of feel the corners more. And it feels like you're possibly going to get up on this edge. It just feels more, it's just less comfortable. I don't really have another way to put it. It works. It is comfortable. The jimping here is very fine but nice. It's golden design. Jimping, I don't know. I feel like he has his own style with jimping. It's sort of a swedged jimp. I don't know. Very comfortable, but it does feel a little bit cramped and uncomfortable when I start squeezing down, because I'm just pushing into this area here as opposed to kind of just the whole knife, I guess. I don't know. Hard to explain, but that's my take on the choil. It's good. I'm glad it's there. I wouldn't take it away. But, you know, there you go. It is comfortable. Back here, it's also comfortable. Pretty neutral grip back here. And then you have that jimping right here to lock you in. Now, I would never hold a knife that has a forward finger choil like this back here. I'm always going to choke it up like this. So, there you go. And you still get 3 1/4 inches of blade length. Pinch grip works. You can get into utility cutting. Now it's a longer knife, so I'm getting that blade or that handle into my palm, but it works. You do have that flat grind, which is relatively thin, feels good. And let's talk about the awesome thing about this knife, and that is the fusion lock. So what is the fusion lock, Kev? Well, the fusion lock fuses a frame lock, traditional frame lock, with a button lock. So essentially you have a button operated frame lock, okay? So you can use this knife as a traditional frame lock. It's got the chamfers, it's got the access, you can get in there. If you're a frame lock guy, you can still use this knife just like a frame lock and forget it even has a button. Right? I love this design, but I just don't like button locks. Okay, that's fine. You can just have this knife and not worry about that, okay? But let's say you're a button lock guy, right? Well, now you got a button too. So you can deploy with the button, close with the button. Right? You have all the button locky things. You know, the only downside here is the frame lock. You could put pressure on it, and then it kind of, you know, makes it a little harder to deploy, but it still works pretty well left-handed, even with the frame lock. Now, there's going to be lefty versions, so we don't really have to worry about that too much. No play at all. The way, I wish I could take this apart, but it's not. It's a prototype. It's not my knife. The way this works is... let me try to get this on a lower, so there we go. The way this works is, you see where that button attaches, right? You see that piece? That piece is the lock bar insert. See that? So the lock bar insert runs along this whole space. Where a normal frame lock would have a lock bar insert that then has, see that piece? That's the over travel. The over travel stop runs to like right here, and it just makes sure that when I push this lock bar over, I cannot travel past a certain point, because what happened in the early days was people would overextend their frame locks. And then the detent would be crap, or the lockup would be gone, or the knife just wouldn't function anymore. So that's why people have over travel stops traditionally, right? But in this case, it just keeps running down, and then this button screws into it right there. So here's another angle. See that plate in there? Another angle here. You can see it from the top, and then it runs up and locks up with the blade. It has the detent ball in it and everything. So that's your steel insert. How freaking genius is that? So you have what is a traditional frame lock construction. You have that sturdy, just nice acoustic feel that you get with a frame lock. We all know and love frame locks because of that, right? They're reliable. All of these things are good. But you get the button lock attached to it, so now you get that extra fidget factor. And the reasoning behind that, if you paused and read it all, is Blaze really likes button locks, but he's felt that they just never seem to be high quality. They never seem to feel quality. And I have to agree with him. I've been on record saying I don't really like button locks anymore. I stopped buying them for sure. I still check them out when they get sent to me, but I just don't love button locks. I'm trying to see if I have one in right now, but I don't. I do. So this is actually an example of a good one. This is another prototype. The tack knives, TACCOM knives, or is it tack knives? Shit, no, I can't remember. I'm sorry. I'm blanking. I think it's Tacom knives. And this is their prototype. And I think they want to do it as a frame lock. But this is actually a well done button lock. But the problem with button locks are you have to rely on a spring, right? A spring is what gives you your detent. And then you get stick. You just end up with a lot of sort of issues. You can end up with some detent lash. Again, this is a really good one. This doesn't have that. But there's just a lot of things that can be bad about button locks. They don't always feel the greatest because, you know, they're kind of loose by nature. Yeah. So basically, he's nullified most of the issues with button locks by doing it this way. Honestly, all of them. So your detent is now derived from the frame lock, just like any other frame lock. So you can get a nice, crisp detent that allows you to deploy it in so many different awesome ways. You get lockup, right? That's a big one right now with button locks. Everybody's complaining. Oh, okay, well, I take it back. We'll see if that's on the changes list. If not, I will 100% let him know that this is failing. I don't think that would be related to the button unless there's a vibration. When I hit it, the vibration is actually pushing the button in. Because I don't have to hit it very hard. I'm not like thwacking it. You can see that. So, funny story. I actually think this happened on his original model when he got prototypes of the standard. And I had one of those production ones, and it did not have lockup issues. So, this is why we prototype. Anyway, that's a big issue with button locks. They tend to have issues with lockup because they're relying on a little, you know, area to have a plunge lock up with the blade. And this has an actual frame lock, right? So it should, in theory, be a stronger lock. You have the same sort of like nice thin jimping around here. So you get this flipper tab, Vero style, right? I always say that because it's kind of Vero who kind of started it. You have that kind of top end above the pivot flipper tab that just gives you a lot of leverage, and it's out of the way, so it's not peckery, right? And then you have a front flipper. I'd say the front flipper is my least enjoyable one on this, but it does work. It's not really because it's not good. It's just, I think because it's a larger knife for me, I have to kind of reach. But the button lock makes it super fun to fidget with. Honestly, that's one thing about the lefty version. I kind of wish it was just a lefty version, but the button stayed over here. I like button locks the way they're set up as a lefty. I like pushing with my index finger. It's honestly kind of weird to use my thumb, but I'm sure I'd get used to it. But I'll be honest, I don't think I'll pick one of these up just because I want a mini. So hopefully it does really well, and then he does a mini caliber, right? There's got to be some kind of name you could come up with since it's called caliber, you know. You could call it the 22 or something like that, and do a mini. But anyway, I think lock bar access, just like on the standard, I would want a little more cut back. But it's obvious he's a very aesthetic-driven person, and that is a design choice not to tuck that back. And it does work. To me, it works better than the standard did, because the standard had, I think, a thin lock bar. It was sort of like a sub-frame lock or something, I believe, or liner lock. This isn't, so it just has a little more space for me to get in there and close. So it works. I just wish it had a little bit of a cutback. But overall, it's very, very cool. I have enjoyed my time with it. I haven't really cut with it, but, you know, Magna Cut, 20 thou behind the edge from Best Tech. I'm going to go ahead and say it'll cut pretty well. So, reverse grip works pretty well. Friday night gas station. And the button lock is fun and fidgety. And so is the frame lock. It's kind of nice to have both options. You can flick it and then close it like a frame lock. Then you can shoot it out with the button. I mean, it's just pretty cool. When you push the button, obviously, the frame lock pushes out a little bit. So, there you go. That's the Golden Design Works caliber. Let's check out the changes. See if the lockup is in there. Blade steel to Magna Cut. Blade tip will be extended slightly to fill handle as much as possible. Okay. So instead of shortening the handle, like I was saying, they're going to extend the blade a little bit to fit more in there. So that works. However they want to go about it. Lock bar access cut on each handle will be lengthened. So they're not going to add more lock bar access. They're just going to cut this down a little further. For people who, I guess, want to push like right here versus up here. I don't mind it where it is. I would just want it cut back a little bit. Sharp corner on butt of clip will be chamfered. So I think he's talking about right here. Didn't even notice that, but it is sharp. Non-textured landing spot under clip will be added. Knurled prototypes missing this only. I can't even see it. I don't think. This isn't knurled, but I can't even see under there. But there's going to be a flat spot. That's cool. Blade will be laser marked with blade steel, hidden. Handle will be laser marked with GD logo, internally hidden. Grind will be brought up close to the edge of hole and run across and meet corner of blade tip better. So that was that other picture. Instead of having this little bit here, it's going to be brought up. So this will all be blasted. And then that line will come and kind of meet up here by this corner instead of right under that corner. That's what this picture is going to show you. See there, that green line? It's going to... Maybe it'll stay there. I don't know. We'll see. Chamfer around the blade hole will be made... constant size, I guess consistent size. I don't know if the chamfer is bigger in some places, but okay. Post will be added to the clip mounting pocket to prevent rotating. Okay. All right. There's no movement, but maybe he noticed you could put it on backwards, or I don't know. Left-handed version will be available. Okay. So I will let him know about the lock failure on this one, and I'm sure he already knows about it if it's on the other ones. If not, there you go. And it will be addressed. Don't you worry. So let me know. If you guys have any questions, you can always hit up Blaze. That pre-order, again, is on November 11th. Saturday, and it's $319. I think that price is excellent for a Best Tech made knife with Magna Cut titanium, nice milling, some intricate detail work. I think that's very, very nice on the price. That's what she said. So, yeah, very, very cool. And let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Shout out to Blaze. Thank you so much for letting me check this out. I'm really happy for you. I love the lock. I love just what you're doing. It's very cool. So I wish you the best with it. And I can definitely recommend this guy. I love you guys. Hope you have a fantastic day. And I will catch you later. Quick update. I talked to Blaze over at Golden Design Works. I let him know about the lockup thing, that I was having failure. And he said... he was going to obviously look into it, address it, whatever he had to do. So I did two things because he asked me, was the pivot loose or anything? So it's rock solid. It's rock solid. So I could feel a little bit of up and down if I really wrenched on it. So I tightened the lock bar insert screw just slightly. And then I took this Q-tip and I cleaned out the blade tang right here. I put some alcohol on it, just cleaned that off because there was a lot of oil on there. It was all black and stuff. So I don't know if it just, you know, got oil on it from being flicked a lot or something. But I did those two things and it is rock solid now. So he's still going to research it, look into it, do some testing, make sure, obviously, in production that there's no issues with it. But it's good to go now. This has been filmed 5 minutes after the video I just filmed on it. So just so you guys know the timeline, I just was, you know, looking at it and I saw it was really dirty in there, so I cleaned it out. Obviously, you don't want a little bit of dirt and stuff to cause lock slip, but it could have been a combination with a loose screw here or whatever. And it's a prototype, and obviously he's going to pass this along to Best Tech, and yeah, it'll be good to go in production. So I just wanted to add that little tidbit there, and yeah, thanks guys. Peace.